if you're watching this, this means that Final Fantasy Record Keeper, the first mobile game I've ever played back in, 2016, late 2016, has finally been end of service. And it is sad to finally see a mobile game that I actually really liked go. And it's kind of weird, like, for, first time actually getting to the point where I can no longer play a game that I've had for a long time. Because, well, I don't know, reasons, something, or just, not enough sales or whatever. But yeah, here we are. So now that is over, time to redo a TOTS episode, I guess. So, we're here now. Now, for this specific special occasion, I'm going to break a rule that I've had for TOPS, and that is, don't redo TOPS past number 60. Now, I was going to plan to doing that anyway with some other video later down the line, but that wasn't going to go past 100. But, again, special occasion, this needs to be done. So, I have made a video of this topic twice already. This being the original TOPS 114, and another video that's kind of a separate thing, because I did want to redo that already. So, this list is going to essentially combine both of those videos. You'll see why in a sec, but first, welcome to Read TOPS 114, the characters I wanted, past tense, to play as in Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Now, this was a game that, yes, even though I've played this for a long time, has been reduced to just, me doing the regular dailies and then move on to Fire Emblem Heroes or Masters. But, yeah, it's kind of still sad to see it go because, well, it's kind of a big deal seeing the game go like that. Even if it's a game that only pledged to do dailies and not much else. Because who knows, maybe it might pull the next new Minbu thing. But the criteria for this list is, one, I had to have already mentioned them, either the original TOPS 114 or in the video that more characters I wanted to play as a Record Keeper. Second, it not only is a character that I wanted to play as because the character I like or want to play as, but also, would I play this character if that character is out? Because here's the thing, even though several of these characters I mentioned in the old TOPS have been in the game now, I don't use them that much. For example, I mentioned Dorgan, and even though cool to see the the Warriors of Dawn, but I only used Kelger out of the Warriors of Dawn. Even then, not much because I didn't really pull much of his things, and Earth Ninja isn't exactly the most widely needed element school combo. So for this list, even though I've had plenty of honorable mentions for character I would like to play as, however, I know I'm probably not going to use them if that character's out anyway. Like for example, Luso. I wanted to play as Luso, but how would he play different from Marche? Or how would he play different from any other Final Fantasy Tactics Knight class character? Because their Knight class is probably the most dominant class in the Tactics realm. So, what would I do? I was originally wanting to do, how about putting the best combo for Humes in, A2, that being Illusionist Seer. But the whole thing with Illusionists is that they like to attack every enemy all at once, which is a bad thing in Record Keeper because most things in Record Keeper are just single target bosses. So, an Illusionist would be terrible in Record Keeper. If it was released so early in the game where multi-targets were actually a thing and were useful to have, cool, but not in, the several years ago modern day Record Keeper. Well, ex-modern day Record Keeper, I guess. But Yeah, I'm also taking away, like, the guest characters out of this list because, like, yes, there's plenty of possibilities, but at this point, it's not worth talking about. Because if they're not going to add any new characters for the Beyond Realm, why bother? I still think it's weird that they added characters from Dimensions 2, but not Dimensions 1. I still find that weird. But it is how it is. Anyway, to the list proper. Number 7, this character from Final Fantasy 1. Bick, as I like to call it, B-I-K-K-E, that's how you spell his name, if I mentioned it in the actual video. Now, I want to put him in because even though it's like an inconsequential character, you don't even fight him, but I still feel like he's a necessary part of Final Fantasy 1 because you do fight his 9 pirate cronies. So even though you don't find him exactly, he is a necessary part of the progression of Final Fantasy 1. And him being in Record Keeper would prove a surprise. So considering there's not many Final Fantasy 1 characters, so much so that character from Mobius Final Fantasy decided to go on 1, but that's because the Beyond Realm wasn't made yet. And the Beyond Realm was made, like, before the Mobius characters showed up. They would have been in Beyond Realm, making the Final Fantasy 1 realm completely barren. Like, there's like, what? There's a Warrior Light Guardian and Princess Sarah. And I think the Thief showed up later. And I believe the Thief showed up later, and I pretty much... Oh, and the Master showed up. But, like, that was, again, after all that happened. So I figured another named character would actually be interesting. Now, if I were to choose what kind of game, archetype he would be in, he would be a water lightning sharpshooter machinist. And so, for those who don't know about the Record Keeper, basically every character has a focus element or focus several elements, and a focused school or ability set, how you call it schools, of which there are 9 elements in 9 elements and like a bunch of schools I don't remember the number of. I'm not going to bother checking. And of course he would wield guns, because of course he would, because it would be funny to see a Final Fantasy 1 character with guns, because that's not a thing in Final Fantasy 1, but it would be funny if it was a thing. So I kind of want to put him in there, because even though Water Sharpshooter just teed us full stop, but I feel like having it in the Final Fantasy 1 realm would be kind of funny. But then again, I'm probably not sure if I would play him anyway, because 1, Tidus exists, and 2, because Maya exists, who serves as the main water element of Final Fantasy 1, and she's just really good. And because I have a lot of, like, I use Maya a lot, so if I use someone else, then for water, it probably wouldn't be as useful. But compared to the others that would put honorable mention, then I would play it, sure. Plus pirate. Enough said. Six, Ultima from Final Fantasy Tactics. Now, Ultima would have been my number 1, like, without question, but then I realized, would I use her? Because the thing is, just for appearance alone, just for the sake of being in the game, Ultima would have been my number 1, heck, my number 0, if possible. But I then realized, would I use her? Not really. But then I had an interesting idea of how would I separate Ultima from any other mage character in the game, or even like mage monk character in the game. And yes, they exist in Record Keeper, whatever. So the Ultima spell in Final Fantasy Record Keeper is a little unique compared to other iterations of the spell, where it does called prismatic damage, and what that does, it's every element all at once. So, want to incorporate that into the character of Ultima, where if she was, or he or she was playable, because it's a guy who was turned into a female, and the female, I don't know, is like whether or not it's gendered or anything. For the sake of this, I'll call it a female, with or without, any assumptions of whether it's male or not. Who cares? It's not important. What is important, though, is that all Ultima's soul breaks, Ultima's like hero ability would deal every element all at once. Because some characters, they deal 2 elements all at once, some 3, some 4, but not exactly all of them. I think Tyro has a thing where he does prismatic, but that's just the main character, and he sucks. Like, damage-wise, he sucks. He's a great support unit. The point is, how about a Black Mage unit that has ways to deal every single element of damage? Because the Black Magic is one of the few schools that has something of every element. Except for maybe Holy and Darkness, but since, Ultima is an evil final boss, Darkness comes naturally, and Ultima is... It does have bases with the Ultima of Detective's Advance, and then some, where it's Holy elements, so it could just bring in Holy, or not, it could be White Magic Attacker, it could be a Witch Attacker, it could be Darkness, but the primary thing would be a Black Mage that deals every element all at once and benefits from having the Ultima Dispel, and having ways to deal lots more prismatic damage, is what I'm saying. It will be the best all-arounder mage. That would be cool and all. But, come on, I think other characters would work well, better. Number 5, Lonnie from 9. Now, Lonnie, like Ultima, is in Record Keeper as a boss. Heck, Ultima has appearances playable and other things. I think Lonnie, not so much. But, Lonnie has some unique things. So, in Final Fantasy IX, in the fight against her, Lonnie uses magic with a giant axe. That's kind of weird. Like, axes and magic don't exactly work well together. But in Record Keeper, someone does wield axes and his magic. Gomez. So, want to have Lonnie, take advantage of the fact that magic axes exist into her being a Black Mage, primarily Earth element, wielding axes. And why not have like other Earth-based elements like heavy, physical? I don't think she'll do night. Night doesn't fit well there. I think probably do black and heavy would do well with Lonnie, just to have a physical and magic thing combined. Because again, some characters do have ways like to deal magic or physical damage depending on what their current max stat is. Lots of other characters have this. It won't be surprised if that's a thing for Lonnie. Because Earth is the main thing for her. It doesn't matter how she does Earth damage. Earth damage is the most important thing for her. Why Earth? Even though her spell set doesn't have any Earth things? Well, one, because Record Keeper doesn't really care that much who gets what element. So why should I? And 2, because Earth magic in general is very rare. Like, there aren't that many users of magic Earth, element. Like, the best you got is Maria. And even then, there's, Rydia, but she's a summoner. And even then, she kind of does have water as her main element. And then, Red 13 is, why is he there? I mean, Red 13 is just kind of there as a mage, even though he wasn't really built initially as one. But he just kind of went through himself into that role of an Earth Mage because there's no one else. So, having a more dedicated Earth Mage like Lonnie would do well. Even as we probably will not overshadow Maria as, the Earth Mage. But, hey, it's something. Number 4, LeBro from 13, even though all she does is heal. Which is kind of weird, but it's not as weird as you think. Even though I kind of just want her to be a white mage. Now, here's the thing. In 13, LeBro does not have white magic. However, she does have potions. So, the point of her is that she will function exactly like Larsa, but for 13. Now, Larsa is a character from 12 who is a white mage, but even though he does white magic, however, his main, Soul Break main animations involve potions, because that's kind of his thing there. So same idea with LeBro, but except she wields guns. Now, why would I want the generic white mage of 13? Well, it's either her or Vanille. I thought so. Number 3, Liud from 12. And him, like, having deciding a moveset for him is so easy. And it's in a rare, like, rare element school combo. And that is Dark Dragoon. And even though Dark Dragoons do exist, the thing is, all of those prefer other elements. Because see, the thing, Kain is, well, technically Kain's the original Dragoon that doesn't deal with wind damage, that being lightning. And it wasn't until way later on that he got Dark, but even then, Kain just works better as a Lightning Dragoon because Lightning Dragoon, the entire archetype, was made for Kain, so why have another element on him? Then we have, what's her name from 15, the Dragoon for 15, same thing, where she is Lightning and Dark, but she prefers Lightning over Dark. And then we have Estinian, which is, Akitera Goomba's husbando, who is essentially the Dark Dragoon, and even then, he in a way prefers Wind over Dark, even though he doesn't really care which way between Earth and Dark, but the game kind of suggests, if you have all of his stuff, it would suggest that he will have more of a want for Wind than Dark. Oh, by the way, the girl from 15 was talking about the Aranea. I forgot her name. Sorry about that. She looks cool, but, I forgot her name. Anyway, point is, there is no character in Record Keeper that is focused on being a Dark Dragoon. And this is where Liud comes in. Now, why would I want them to be Dark? Well, the real question is why I want a secondary element to be Water. But we'll get to that. Well, first of all, even though Liud in his base game doesn't really deal elemental damage, and his best weapon's a fire element weapon, the thing is some of his abilities in Revenant Wings involve stuff you expect a Dark Knight to do. Sacrifice HP to deal damage, or have stuff to restore HP, like a draining move. That's something Dark Knights would do. The Darkness element, the Darkness School, has a draining move and consuming HP to do stuff. So it just kind of fits well thematically more than what actually happens. So that's why I feel like a Dark Dragoon would fit him the best, and it will probably be the definitive Dark Dragoon. But let's move on for that. And I want him to have a secondary element, not focus so much, but I kind of want him to have Water as a secondary element. Why, you ask? Well, it's for the same reason why Dark Dragoon makes sense on him. Well, not really. It's because Water, for some reason, there are no definitive Water Dragoons, even though the ability of a Water Element Dragoon ability is in the game. The only character in the game that benefits from it the most is Ward, and even then, he prefers Earth, as an element in general, more. So, the one character the ability is made for doesn't even use it that much. Doesn't even need it. So I just feel like having two, a Dragoon is his main class, but he got Darkness, sure. A Dragoon, and have two rare, the two rare elements for one character, just so he could have a niche, not just in his game realm, but also in general. Number 2, Izayoi from 4. Hey, for those who have played Record Keeper before, remember when ninjutsu was a thing? Where when the ninja ability school came in originally, they mostly came in with spells but with effects. And then they suddenly decided, nah, screw that. We're every ninja from now on is going to be entirely physical because Edge prefers physical. Even though I think Edge at the time where we wanted it's more like a balancing magic and an attack, but all the ninjas just want to be physical damage. Why have a magic based school if you're just gonna use your physical attack anyway? So yeah, remember when ninjutsu existed. I want to, if I had the chance, I would probably bring back ninjutsu as a magic class. Just so, some characters can benefit from it. Some magic-based ninjas can benefit from it. This is where Izayoi comes in. Even though she again, like, prefers physical, but she doesn't physical that much, because she's more, like, slightly more attack than magic, but it would be cool if she would benefit from, like, a more magic-based ninjutsu. But if not, it's fine, because Water Ninja does already exist. Edge is, like, the main character that had Water Ninja. It was made originally for him, but then other elements for Ninja came in, like Kelger for Earth, and then we got Dark for Shadow. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that's notable. But, yes, Water Ninja because, well, she's a Water Ninja. That's kind of her thing in her main game. And plus, you could probably benefit from some magic-y stuff. Could she heal? Maybe not. Maybe not as a white mage. Maybe just does her own thing. Maybe like a record material or whatever. Or a glint or something that she could use. Like, oh, she could heal, but that's not her main thing. Just kind of there. Just kind of there. She will like bows and whips because that's her main. That's her preferred weapon type. But that's again not really that important. But the point is that I kind of want to see what ninjutsu brought back. But unfortunately, ninjutsu as a magic type, it's kind of irrelevant. But I mean, end of the game service. I mean, I can't change anything now. And finally, the character that I wanted to see the most, and I wish was in the game, but can't because the game's dead, Ritz from Tactics Advance, or to go into Tactics Realm, because Marche and Montblanc are there. Now, my goodness, like, this the number 2 character I wanted to play as in this game, but no, can't have her, can't have Ultima, it sucks. But man, I really like Ritz in her own game. I would definitely play her. I definitely would build her up if possible. That probably won't spend enough money, but definitely would try to pull for as much as possible. I even have an idea of what her main elements would be. So, Ritz starts off as a Fencer class, which would make sense that the main school would be Celerity, however you pronounce it as. The speed class, I guess. Problem is, I kind of want her to be Fire Element, because she comes up as a Fencer, she comes as a Red Mage, and she comes as an Elementalist. And the only element that comes anywhere between them is Fire, because Fire has Fire Whip and the Fire Healing thing, and Ritz as a Red Mage can use Double Cast Fire. I mean, granted, the Fencer doesn't have elements, but you get the idea. But unfortunately, there's no Fire Celerity, and if it were me, I would put Fire into Celerity because Lightning and Ice already in there. Why not add the third element? It's like the Witch ability school, where Lightning and Ice were the dominant elements until Matoya shows up, and then Fire was introduced for that school. Why not the same thing for Celerity? But because I want her to have Celerity like as her main school. I would change her, instead of Fire, be like Fire and Ice, just so they'll also benefit from Black magic, and also benefit from Spellblade if possible. Like, I don't think she'll do Spellblade, but since I think A2 has the equivalent of a Spellblade, no. Yeah, I think A2 has the equivalent of a Spellblader, I guess it would be fine if she would be Celerity Spellblade Black Mage, and then do the same thing as lines from earlier, which, the stronger 2 stats will be the prominent attacking type, which will probably mostly be a physical attack, but still have the magic option. The thing here is that as a Spellblader, she would not do well because Delita exists, and he's like already has Fire, Lightning, Ice. I think it's another element too, as a Spellblader. But as a Celerity unit, not many characters have it, so especially never on Tactics. So I feel like it would work well on her. And plus, like as a Black Mage, Montblanc is the Black Mage of the Tactics realm, but he doesn't have to be the only one. And her weapon type will be swords, referencing rapiers, because like there's no rapier weapon type, but swords can substitute for it very well. It doesn't really matter that much. It's fine. And magic swords, of course, they exist. Look at Tyro, for example. Fire swords, like fire magic sword exists. So even if she doesn't get hero relics, hero like weapons or artifacts, whatever. at least the fire, fire magic sword exists. Well, anyway, unfortunately, the game no longer exists. I'm gonna miss it, but for right now, see you guys later for something else I have in mind.